Darth Traya was a female human who was a Jedi historian and consular who achieved the rank of Jedi Master. During her time as a member of the Jedi Order, Traya attempted to uncover the galaxy's mysteries through study and meditation. For decades, Traya trained many students, constantly challenging their ideals about the Force. She infected her views to promising students such as Raven, who eventually turned to the dark side. The Jedi Council denounced Traya and condemned her for her free teachings, and by the Council's orders, she was exiled from the Jedi Order. Silently withdrawing from the Jedi Order, she began to question her own beliefs as she took those who followed her and her teachings with her away from the Jedi. She then found the remnants of the Sith Empire and began learning their ways, even having apprentices of her own such as Surik, Sion, and Nihilus. When Sion and Nihilus grew weary of Traya's teachings, they betrayed her, stripped her of her powers and exiled her, betrayed again, now this time by the Sith. Even during her years as Jedi, Traya's views were perceived as unorthodox, challenging traditional interpretations of both Jedi and the Force itself. She came to a conclusion of the view that the Force as a being, a power that by nature used everything as pawns in a pernicious game of balance without regard to sentient life. This Traya thought was evident by the widespread of occurrences of destruction and death that had persistently transpired throughout the galaxy to that point, many of which could be traced to a conflict between Force sensitives. Yet Traya blamed neither the Jedi nor the Sith, but rather the very thing they had both come to draw upon and rely, the Force itself. She hated the Force, and mostly the fact that the Force seemed to have a will of its own, and it had a plan for everybody in the universe. But that plan didn't feel or seem beneficial for a whole bunch of people, resulting in a lot of death and destruction. And lastly, the idea that we didn't really have any choice of our actions. It was all predestination. The one thing that fueled Traya's hatred the most was the Force itself. She strongly believed in the will of the Force, viewing it as a conscious entity that controlled the destiny of all living things. Thus, she knew the Force as a deity that gave no regard to individual wills and sought to rid all sentience from its control. I once believed in the Jedi Code, and I felt the call of the Sith, that perhaps, once, I held the galaxy by its throat, that for every good work that I did, I brought equal harm upon the galaxy. That perhaps, what the greatest of the Sith Lords knew of evil, they learned from me.